So we are going to do our May divination, the beginning of each month. I love to check in with the collective energy. This is something we started last month, but this is something that I do quite often in my personal practice. And so I want to be sharing more of that with you here. And before we get into it, I just want to say a little bit more about this. Last week when we were talking about shamanic journeys, I mentioned how divination is actually a very important piece of shamanism. We often journey to get this wisdom from our spiritual team. So that is the form of divination that I am most interested in. And even though I have taken many psychic development courses, and I really love that work too, what I don't like is reading the future. And I don't like being thought of as a fortune teller because I feel like everyone is way too into the future already. Yes, you can receive good guidance as to how to prepare, but there are so many different timelines that can occur. And again, it is good to know a little bit about where your life can be going, because if it's in the wrong direction, then you can course correct. I remember a long time ago when I was in my yin yoga training, actually, with Sarah Powers, and one of her students, someone who was helping with this retreat, was doing readings on the organs and meridians. And so he went over my chart and he said to me, it looks like you're going to have breast cancer or colon cancer sometime in your life. And I was like, okay, thanks for letting me know, but this can change, right? And he was like, of course it can. And so that was the point where I realized that this could be my future. This could actually come to pass if I were to continue with what I was doing during that time. I was already on my wellness journey. I was already making changes. And it didn't bother me. I told some people, I told my roommate on that retreat, this teacher training, I told her about it and she was really upset. She's like, how could he say that to you and scare you? And I'm like, but I'm not scared. So if you understand this from the beginning, it's actually really good information. But for many people, it can be scary. It can be scary because they think that predictions are set in stone, and that is absolutely not true. But anyway, I don't even like going too much into the future, projecting. I'm much more interested in what is happening right now because this is where you're living. This is when you can be making changes. So the energy for May is a bit challenging. This is not going to be a feel-good message, but I hope at the end of this that I will be bringing forth some things that you can do to bring more balance and ease to your life. So I already checked in last night. I'm going to share some of that message, the big theme that I feel is happening. And then I want to check in with you here live to see what else is coming through. And I'm going to pull a goddess card for us. I love my goddess card deck. It is always spot on. Actually, all my cards are. And again, it's just something that we can all be paying attention to. I'm asking for us collectively here, everyone who will be watching this video, what they need to hear in this moment. Okay? So for the month of May, I was already feeling last week, I received a group energy healing, and at the time I wasn't sure what I was tapping into, but afterwards I felt this huge amount of sadness and more like a pause, like when you have experienced grief, that there is that pause where you need to sit in it. Like there's nothing else you can do. You just need to sit in it and wait. Wait until it transforms and transmutes. And it was really interesting because when I was feeling that, I looked at my cat who was at my feet during this healing, and he had a little tear coming down his little furry cheek, which was very sweet. But I was like, yes, Oak, that is what I'm feeling too. And it wasn't my feeling. Like, this is, I didn't know if it was in the group, because again, this was a group energy healing, what other people were feeling, maybe unprocessed grief, or it was something bigger that I was tapping into. But since that time, even though I'm not feeling a lot of sadness personally, whenever I do stop and check in, that is the overall feeling that is coming up. And it could be a few things. Again, I'm going to try to get more information. I have seen some other teachers talking about events that can occur. And I know our minds have all gone here, that there is a lot of sadness happening already, and it's not affecting us personally, and it might. So it could just be that we're feeling sadness for the war that is going on. I'm really upset about the lockdowns happening in China. Like, there's a lot of things. There are always things that you can look at and feel sadness and feel horror and all these other uncomfortable emotions. But what this teacher was bringing up is that it's going to come closer to home sometime. And so I was curious when I tapped in if that is really true, if it's something that is pending. Because again, it does feel like there is this pause, that something may be on the horizon that might occur to us, but it doesn't feel horrific to me. It feels like maybe not everyone is going to understand, or maybe not everyone is emotionally and spiritually prepared. Like, it's that sadness for people being disconnected from themselves, from their lives, from things that are happening on a deeper level. That there is sadness seeing that they don't get it. So that's my feeling. There's not going to be this huge disaster. But some thoughts that have come in from there. So let me get right into what was coming through last night, because I did pull some tarot cards too that gave me a little more guidance around it. So I was feeling like there is this sense of waiting for the other shoe to drop, or the other foot to drop. How does it go? That we've already experienced so much, and yet it's not quite complete. So kind of like labor pains, we're still not there. There's still going to be some final events before we get to the other side, which is very hopeful. And so when I pulled some cards, I did get the Wheel of Fortune, which is very interesting. Because one thing that I'm feeling pretty strongly personally, and you can let me know how you're feeling about this too, and other people are talking about it. I mean, it's very clear that we are having financial issues here in the United States. And so I've been getting some little nudges to diversify my IRA. And it was interesting because I was at the bank the other day depositing a check for my son's account. And I hadn't been into my safety deposit box for years, and just got a little nudge of, why don't you look in that safety deposit box? And I did, and there were just papers in there. And I got this vision that I can be placing like a lot more precious physical things in there that can accumulate in value, or at least be like on hold in case I needed to use later. And then I started looking into gold and silver IRAs, perhaps moving some of my money from where it is right now and putting it into one of those. And I'm feeling this excitement coming up around that. And so that's what I want you to pay attention to when I'm mentioning this. Because what I don't like is all the fear with all these projections. If you're feeling like, oh, what she's saying is really important, then that's a nudge just to look into it. I'm not making these decisions based on fear. Again, it's a little nudge, and then I'm feeling excited about that, and so I'm going to move forward with it. But just so interesting that it's the Wheel of Fortune card, talking about fortune. But really the card is all about that there are ups and there are downs. And this is the only card that wanted to be pulled. I was shuffling and shuffling, and that was it. So it was like, sit with this, sit with the uncertainty. And because I still wanted a little more information, I looked at the card that was on the bottom of the deck, and it's the Ace of Pentacles, which is one of the most benevolent cards and messages. So there is something big and bright and wholesome on the other side. But again, there might be some sadness, there might be some pain, there might be some loss in the meantime before we get to that place. And the Ace of Pentacles is all about manifestation and what you're placing your mind and energy on, what you are bringing into being. So paying attention to that, of where you want to go, and just being prepared for what might come in the meantime. So that was, those are the big messages that came through last night. So before I pull a goddess card here, I just want to check in for a little bit more to see if there's anything else that comes through. And for any of you who are watching live, if you do have a question around this, even if you have a personal question, I'll do this just for you guys or ladies showing up live. I can provide guidance for that too, but not if you're watching the replay, because I won't be taking the time to do this again later. Okay. So first I want to just see or listen for any other guidance or messages that we can pay attention to. So paying attention to what we're clinging to, what you're holding on to too tightly. So especially with material items, material objects. So we're definitely going to do a lot of first chakra work with safety, security, placing less of an emphasis on the material things that make us feel that way. Really tapping into the spiritual, because even though this is a base chakra issue, it's not just having a home or having money or having a job that makes us feel secure. It's the faith behind all that, that we will have what we need in case we do experience some type of loss, that you will always be supportive. So this is a major up-leveling for us. So loosen your grip. Finding safety in your own connection. So based on what I'm providing here, run it through your filter. How is this message settling in with you? Does it feel true or not? What is your emotional response? Because it's your heart and your gut that are your gauges. To let you know if this message is for you or one you can let go and assume it's for someone else. There's so much more freedom on this other side. When we let go of these material attachments, it's like we're breaking a chain. So careful not to overreact, to take it personally, to assume that if you do experience a loss that you're doomed. Again, this is serving you. This is happening for you, for your freedom. And to pay attention to any other messages you're getting. About ways that you can cope. And I want to tap into that now too. Is there anything we can all be doing? So breathing down deep, of course, grounding in that first chakra, but also sitting back in the kidney area of the body. So in the low back region, the kidneys are associated with fear, and we don't want fear to be leading any reactions. Breathing deep into the kidneys, into your lower body. We can respond to whatever happens with emotional intelligence. I am seeing money. I am seeing dollar signs. Okay. All right. I will pull a goddess card for us now. So this will be a quicker, well, actually, I always talk more than I think I will. I was thinking this is going to be a very quick message, but it's already been 20 minutes. Oh, I love it. Okay, so Kuan Yin, compassion. So holding yourself with compassion. You can see she's holding the flower at her heart. So always keeping your heart in the foreground of your awareness, that you need to be experiencing compassion for yourself before you can extend it to others. But this is what I've been feeling a lot too. If this is not my sadness that I'm tapping into, it's definitely others, and I can be holding them. So the thing about compassion is that there's a fine line between compassion and pity. And I absolutely do not like treating people as victims. When you treat them as victims, it's not compassion. I feel that yes, it is more empathy. You're placing yourself in their shoes, and you're not wanting to be there. You're feeling sorry for them in that position. And instead, I want to be doing with this with you all later, is transmuting their suffering, transmuting it into courage, into strength. So that is what compassion brings. You're holding them in your heart. You know what they're feeling, and you're seeing that this is not the end for them. Okay? And they're not a victim. So I'm going to read the poem for Kuan Yin. So this is a deck from Amy Sophia Marashinsky. I've had this for a really long time. And the poems in here are so beautiful. Kuan Yin. I made the vow and kept my word. I reached enlightenment, but rather than pass over to the state of eternal bliss, I retained human form till all beings attain enlightenment. Keeping human form enabled me to know more deeply the pain others experience. Because of my deep feelings, because of my understanding of misery and suffering, because of my decision, I am called the Compassionate One, she whose name alleviates all suffering. But wouldn't you prefer to wait, feeling what others feel, suffering what others suffer, knowing that their pain as your own? Wait till the end of all suffering and pain, till all beings attain enlightenment. For me, there was no other choice. So this is her role, is to feel and to hold it for everyone. So you don't have to do that. That is one of my roles. But for the people close to you in your life, if they are suffering, if you heard this message, then that is your role, to hold them with a compassionate heart. Okay, so that is it, friends. Let me know how this resonated with you. Let me know if you have any questions. Again, I'm not going to tap in this deeply. If you have any personal ones, know that I do give personal readings, and I am bringing in all of my modalities together into probably what I'm going to just call holistic healing sessions. So not keeping TCM and shamanic healing and everything separate, but bringing them all together. So offering these as single sessions, as 5-week passages, and then my bigger 6-week program that I'm changing to. I'm pretty sure that's going to be called the Pathway to Empowerment. And I am super excited to be fleshing that all out right now, and I will present it to you when it is ready. So I hope you have a great rest of the week, friends. Take care.